All right, back to the real stuff here. On Friday, another attempt was made on the life of Danish cartoonist Kurt Westergaard. He's the man who drew those pictures in 2005 of the Prophet Muhammad, including one with Muhammad carrying a bomb in his turban. This was 2005. You'll remember these cartoons set off demonstrations and riots across the Muslim world. Well, on Friday, a 28-year-old immigrant from Somalia broke into Westergaard's home with an axe and a knife. Westergaard called police from a safe room. That's how bad it is. The guy has a safe room. He's under police surveillance. The man was shot, arrested, and charged with attempted murder. Today, we give a morning buzz to Professor of Leadership at New York University, Irshad Manji. Professor Manji, also the author of The Trouble with Islam Today. Professor Manji, thank you so much for waking up at this ungodly hour.
Well, normally I would say thanks for having me, but not in this case.
No.
Really, it's way too early.
You know what? We're going to write that down. We should use that. It is way too early. I know this is an insult, but I really appreciate it. We had a great conversation with you on Morning Joe last week and wanted to get you back on. Your first reaction to this story, it keeps coming back. We had the big demonstrations a couple years ago. Now it appears some extremists anyway still want this cartoonist dead.
And it will keep coming back, I'm sad to say, for a number of reasons, Willie. It's that, guys like this Danish national of Somali heritage, he is fed a lie by the Al-Qaeda network, a lie that states that the West hates Islam. He's pumped up by that. He is pumped up by what we have in Islam as a culture of honor. And basically what that means is that every Muslim is responsible for defending the honor of every other Muslim. And so if some Muslims are offended by these cartoons, then it is this guy's, duty to avenge that offense. Of course, nobody ever says that about Muslim women. Hey, you're offended by how Muslim men treat you? Well, then we are going to defend you. Of course not. So needless to say, the theory, has some real problems in practice. But the other thing to point out is that there is a teaching in the major denomination of Islam known as Sunni Islam, and that teaches that the Prophet Muhammad is not to be depicted in visuals and images because that would turn him into an idol. But the crazy thing, Willie, is that by going the route of violence, the very people who are supposedly defending the humanity, not the idolatry of the Prophet Muhammad, are themselves turning the Prophet into an idol by putting him on a pedestal and making him untouchable. So again, none of this makes logical sense. Keep that in mind. It is all about raw emotion.
The criticism since 9/11, refrain we've heard over and over, where are the moderate Muslims at a time like this? Is that a fair criticism, or are the moderate Muslims coming out publicly against these acts and we're just not hearing it?
Well, in Denmark, the moderate Muslims are coming out against these acts, and I'm happy to report to your audience that when this whole story broke back in early 2006, a brand new group of people called the Democratic Muslims of Denmark formed in response to the crisis, and they exist precisely to defend freedom of expression. So God bless them, I say, as a fellow Muslim.
Absolutely. This is a complete perversion of a great faith. You're right. Professor Irshad Manji, thanks so much, as always, for your perspective. The book, The Trouble with Islam Today. Appreciate you again waking up so early for us.
Thanks, Willie. I'm going back to bed now.
All right, go back to sleep.